Hey there, sweet friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. Today I'm going to share with you guys 5 of my Homebodies collection. It is a slow progress because I'm spending so much time on each book. So rather than just wait until I got all of them done, I thought I would just go ahead and do a few at a time and then release those into my Etsy shop and then do a few more and release those, and that way I just kind of sprinkle them throughout the next month or two. I'm hoping to have all of them done by the middle of March, and that would be, right now I have 14 or 15. There's one I'm kind of thinking about. So that would be like 15 total I'm hoping to have done by the end of March. So this will be release number 1. Today is Sunday, and I'm thinking it's going to take me a whole week to get these guys photographed and get them listed in Etsy. So let's go Friday. Let's go Saturday. Let's go Saturday morning. So next Saturday morning, we will go, let's see, that would be the 10th. Let's go 9 a.m. So Saturday, February 10th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time will be when I put these in my Etsy shop. So let me flip through and show you guys what I have with this first round in this collection. And I'm super excited because every time I make journals, I feel like I just get better and better, and I find more techniques and newer things that I add, and new elements, and this is definitely one of those times. I really pushed my creativity with fabric and just used fabric in ways that I hadn't used fabric before. So yeah, you're gonna see these are very heavy with a lot of fabric. So let me make sure we're in frame here, and I apologize for this cover. I know it needs to be ironed, but I just needed something because this table is so slick and I didn't want my journals to slide around. So this one I've already done a video on. I won't spend a lot of time talking about this one, but I just wanted to show you the finished piece. And this is just a really old book. It has some eyelets on the back. I was drawn to this book when I found it because of the shape and just of the colors, and I loved the end papers. So like I said, I've already done a flip through before I had actually bound this one. It's loaded with lots of pockets, like there's double pockets, and then within pockets there's like little booklets, and oh my gosh, all kinds of good stuff. This is like, I think I said it was like going to Disneyland, because there's just so many things in here that you can do and so many little places to tuck things. And then I added some of the Ada cloth that you can do your own stitching. For each one of the Homebodies collection, I'm going to add a little bundle of supplies, vintage supplies, and I'm really excited about those because I know the journals themselves are, you know, that's like the main thing. But I am so excited about these little things that I have collected to put in these little pouches that are going to go with the Homebodies. And it's just going to be a little assortment of vintage crafting materials. And then you can use them however you want. You can use them for their intended purpose, or you could do kind of like I have and just come up with new ways to use these little supplies that I'm going to add too. So yeah, kind of excited about that. I think today, after I get this video filmed, I'm going to work on these little pouches and get all the little goodies and stuff ready to go. And I'm going to, like, the theme for these little pouches is going to be if you were at home on the weekend and you were crafting. So it's going to be a whole bunch of like crafting supplies, and I'm excited. Excited. So there's that book, and I will have full details. I know I have the page numbers and how many pages and all that good stuff. I have it written down in my notebook, but I don't have my notebook with me. And I'll be honest, guys, right now I'm moving a little slow this Sunday morning, so I will have the full description of pages and all this good stuff, but this one has 5 signatures, and if I remember correctly, I think there's like 10 pages in 2, or it has 4 signatures, sorry, 10 pages in 2 of the signatures, and then 8 pages in the other 2, which then you multiply that times 2, because then you'd have fronts and backs. So again, I'll put it all in the description. Okay, so the next one, let's do these. So these are twins because they are the same type of book. This is a Better Homes and Gardens. Better Homes and Gardens has an entire collection of these crafting books. And so I've been trying to snatch them up anytime I see them. They're from the 70s and 80s, and they just have really awesome colors and just lots of diagrams and things like that. So I have another one of these rug making ones. I want to actually make another one. So what I did on these guys is, this is one where I kind of kept it the same. So whatever I did in this one, when I went to make this one, I tried to keep it all the same. But the colors are different and fabrics and stuff like that are different. So let's take a look at the rug making one. So here's the rug making one. We're going to have 5 signatures. Love the palm fringe that we have right here. It is got an eyelet on both sides of the cover, and then I've got it some lace. So again, we're going to be very heavy on fabrics. So these guys are going to be bulky because they have a lot of fabrics. I trimmed down how many pages I put in them, but I really focused on quality this time. I wanted, instead of quantity, a lot of pages. I wanted just high quality, good pages for you to journal and do all of your creative stuff. So in these journals, you are going to see that there are a lot of pockets. So let me point this out. This is a fabric sample that I got, like a wallpaper book. So I have a fabric sample book. And so what I did was I just took the fabric samples and I sewed them. So this is the inside. I actually sewed 2 together, and I added some trim and some diagrams from one of the books. And then this is a sweater of mine that I sewed on here. So you'll see these pockets in pages in quite a few of the journals, because I made a lot to put in the journals. I was thinking I wanted one in every journal, but they're just so bulky that it was harder for my small journals not to be able, I couldn't get them all in there. So then paper glued together, because you know I like them to be nice and thick, especially with your old paper. So this is some patterns. I think this was like latch hook patterns or embroidery patterns. And then you've got on the other side, you've got ledger paper, some scrapbook paper with some trim, and then just a little pocket there. I sewed on a button, pages from the original book, calendar pages, some scrapbook paper, vintage envelope. This is an old envelope. You can tell because the glue is shining through. Some old wallpaper. Lots of fold outs. Look at this little pocket. This is a snap package, and then I just tuck that in so it becomes a little pocket. And it's tactile because you've got the snaps still on there. So this is the other side of that fabric page, that little pocket. So here's another little doodad that I stuck in here, a little booklet that I made. I had so much fun making booklets. I thought booklets would be cute because they're kind of like mini journals, and you could just add a small little story. Lots of photo album pages. So I have, like, I would find, you know, photo albums and at vintage, or sorry, at thrift stores, and I would just take the pages out and then use the photo album pages so you can slip in some photos or some 4x6s. Did a lot of my free motion stitching. Lot of texture. So this is some flocked, old flocked ribbon. And that's scrapbook paper backed with a page from the book. These are just some pages from another book, tucked into some trim. I love this turquoise trim. There we go. This could be a little tuck spot right there. So this is some bias packaging, and it's got a little window in it. And then look at this. Isn't that the cutest? That was a latch hook page, and then you open it up and it just becomes a little, it's just a little journaling page. But I loved the diagram of those kids playing. Ooh, look at the colors in that. And then this is a pocket right here. This is a pocket right here. This is a coloring book page, and then on the back was a page from that, or the first book I showed you guys. And that was one of the cool things I did with this, is I took all the books that I was going to use, and I had all of their pages sitting out. So each book has a collection of pages from various books, which I think is kind of cool, because it's not just going to be like, you know, one-dimensional with one book page in it. It's going to have lots of different book pages and lots of different crafts and stuff. Oh, still got my, there you go, still got my clip in there. So you'll have lots of different crafts and stuff, because I tried to pull from a lot of different craft books. And then this pulls out right here. So on this go round, I did sewing, I did handicrafts and stitchery, but I didn't really get into any of my quilt books. I think that's what I'm going to do for, oh goodness, I didn't take off any of my clips. I think that's what I'm going to do. Look at that. Wouldn't that be fun to journal on? I think that's what I'm going to do for my Homebodies 2, is I'm going to focus on, put some book pages in there. So focus on quilting. Sorry, I'm like all over the place here. So I think I'll focus on my quilt books for the Homebodies 2, and that way I get to use so many. I've been collecting so much vintage and old and unused quilt scraps and quilt blocks and quilt tops. So that's a great way for me to be able to use those, is in this next collection. So this is an envelope that I've turned into, this is actually like a little double pocket here. There's a pocket on this side, there's a pocket on this side, and then you've got some tags. Again, this is like going to Disneyland, because there's like so much stuff to do. Like you don't even know. Oh, look at this. This is a waterfall envelope with some free motion stitching, and then I put little booklets inside of them for your journaling. Oh, my doggy just walked in. Hi, Grover. So that's tucked in. Thought this was a cool graphic from, I think this was an embroidery book. This is a little pocket here. And there's just so much stuff in these. Oh my gosh. Oh, and then this was, so in all of my finds of all these craft books and everything, I was buying like old packages of embroidery projects and latch hook projects, and so I have a lot of old yarn, and so I would incorporate that whenever I could. There's another journaling card. And then this is, so I got these little bags at an estate sale. They are Brighton jewelry, and the bags I was able to get for like, I don't know, $1 a piece. So I bought as many as I could, and then I kept thinking, how am I going to use them? So I'm actually able to put them in this journal, and then again, they have a little pocket, and then they have a back, and so yeah, kind of cool. All right, so that's the rug making one. The crocheting and knitting one is pretty much the same. Did a little bit different. I didn't put any buttons on this one, and same size. Love the colors on this one. For the tie on this one, I used an old sweater that I had felted. So this is an old sweater that has been felted, and then it's got eyelets also. And this one is pretty much the same, so I'm going to probably just fast forward on this one and not talk so I can show you guys what else in there. It's funny how I just made those books last week and I've forgotten the stuff that was in them. And then I get really excited and it makes me want to go make another one after I see all the stuff that I put in it. All right. This one I also made last week, and this one is a smaller one. I think the name of this one was called Small Stitches. So I really heavily embellished this with some trim, some pom-pom, and then some old buttons, some diagrams or some pictures from one of the books, and then some pretty plaid, which I don't usually do plaid. And then I got so lucky and I found this teeny tiny strip of, or teeny tiny width of this blue velvet trim, and I have a lot of it and I'd been wanting to use it, and so it just happened to be perfect to use as the tie for the, and trying to think what I did on this that, oh, I did a lot of where I would take like images, so fabric or pages from books, and then I would just stitch around them to just kind of give you, here's your blank page to journal, but then here's a little bit of an element to kind of get you going. And then on the back, what it does is it leaves behind this little, almost like a frame, and you could put something in there because this is the back of the stitching. So that was, you'll see that as you go throughout this journal. Still with the free motion stitching, and I think what I did is I used my Dick and Jane book on this one a lot. So this is just a little pocket I created with my old Dick and Jane book, and then I just sewed a transparency, so that would be great to tuck a little photo in or to tuck in a journaling card, and then it slips in this little pocket. And I have this fabric on the back, which I have so much of this fabric, so I try to use it whenever I can, and I love it that you can see through it. It's sheer. This is just a greeting card that I flipped inside out, and then now it makes a pocket with a little peekaboo hole in it. Here's some more of that Dick and Jane book. So I have these old social studies cards. It was probably for someone who was teaching social studies, just pull out the cards and it would tell you what to do that day, also known as lesson plans. And so I took my Dick and Jane book and I would just put an image, tore the image, because this book is like literally falling apart. And so I would put it on there and I would just stitch around. And so now this makes a little journaling card. Pockets, little old lady handwriting, fold outs. I love it when they give instructions and they put little diagrams and stuff in the instructions. That just, I just want to color in those circles and just start adding my own little doodles. Love this, was an element that I used. I used it in this book and another book where I would just take lots of scraps of threads and just kind of sew them on and then stitch a button, and it just kind of adds a really cool element. So this is a piece of, looked like some hand embroidery, maybe a small little table runner. It was very small, so I folded it and it became a page. And then it was kind of flimsy, so I just stuck on a little card right here to kind of give it a little more stability. But you could absolutely sew on this. Like you could practice your button stitches and things like that. And then I just added a little journal card. This was a page from one of the books, and I just absolutely loved this page, so I included that. Some smocking. Another one of these, oops, fold outs. Some ledger paper, some wide trim as a pocket, and then this is like some vellum with a piece of page from one of the books on the back side of it. Here's another here's another snap package. This one's really old that I used as a pocket and then just stuck in a little journaling card here. So here's the other side of that embroidery or cross stitch, whatever it was. And then there's another little card, journal card that I put right there. And again, that to me, that would be a piece of fabric that you could practice on. So another Dick and Jane. This is one of those little transparency pockets. And I stuck it in this pocket. And then I just started pulling pages from the books and just in the Dick and Jane book, and just kind of started adding them to some of the pages just to kind of give a little bit of interest. Loved coming up with designing how to make all of these pockets. That was just so much fun. This is a zipper. That was just so much fun trying to figure out how to make these pockets and then make pockets within pockets. And I don't know, it just seemed, it was almost like a puzzle, and I had to try to figure out how to piece it all together. And it was so cool because there wasn't any pattern that I had to follow. It was all just, you know, me playing around and figuring out what would work best in my journals. And so that I had a lot of fun making these books. And I'm not much of a designer because I just don't have, I mean, I love to design things, but I just don't have the skills to, or the patience to measure and do all of that stuff and draw. But I was able to just kind of freeform design these pockets and all kinds of stuff. So there's that one, small stitches. And then the last one, so this one I did yesterday. This, I'd been working on this for the entire week because I had this idea of what I wanted it to be, but I had to do, this is the first time I've ever done a journal like this. So it took me a while. Now this one is a fat book. So if you are into chunky journals, this is a chunky journal. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's actually only like 8 to 10 pages per signature. The deal is that I used recycled file folders in this and fabric, lots of fabric, and I'll show you what I mean. So this book has a lot of pages that are just fabric, like the whole page is fabric. So this first one right here, it's fabric on the front, and then check this out. I put some tulle, I just sewed some tulle on here, and the tulle, you can see through it, so you wouldn't even really know it's there, actually makes 2 little pockets on the front of this. Then on the back, I just took some packaging from some embroidery collars, cut it down, and then I created a pocket and then stuck in a little tag. And the reason why this is so bulky is because this is not paper, this is fabric, and this was actually some pretty thick fabric. So that's why it bulked the book up. Just some pages of some old stationery and some game pieces. So I used a lot of my free motion stitching. Again, I'm adding some elements from an old felted sweater, so this is going to bulk it up. And then just added in this cute little accordion fold tag that was a page from the book. Another page from the book. So here are the file folder pages. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but how I did this was I actually stitched 2 panels of file folders to a strip of fabric. So the fabric is what's holding them in the book. So this is what I'm connecting to the spine. And then you just have this thick, nice thick file folder for your journaling. And so what I did was I just tried to go through. I didn't want to over embellish because I want you to be able to do your own stuff. But I just added a little piece of fabric or some stitching to kind of help prompt you so you're not looking at just a blank page. Now some of the pages are fold outs, like this one right here, because I was able to take the part of the file folder that opens up. And then pockets, lots and lots of pockets and tags. I did not use a single sheet of scrapbook paper. Like I didn't go get a new sheet of scrapbook paper to do this journal. Whoops. What I did was it's all scraps. It's all scraps of scrapbook paper. So here's the other end of that. There's a tag, and then the back side of that embroidery collar packaging. It was actually green, so I just flipped it over for this pocket. And then on the back, here's the fabric again, and then there's your tool with your pockets. So this is those fabric sample book that I made that pocket out of. So again, this is going to bulk it up too, but here's the pocket. And then just put a card in there. Here's the back side. Put some stationery paper in here. Just went through and added just weird little whimsical elements just to try to help you have a starting place for your journaling. But I didn't want to overwhelm your page. Wanted to leave a lot for you to do your own stuff. Here's the back side of that fabric. And then here is a little book. I mean, this is heavy. This is like a book cover. It just slides in there. Pretty fabric. This actually is a sheet of scrapbook paper, but it was a remnant, and it was a piece that didn't fit into the book that I just showed you before. I'd actually made it too big, so I pulled it and put it in here, and then I just sewed on some other little scraps of scrapbook paper. This is just a couple little pieces of fabric that I sewed up here with a fold out. Oh, I love this pocket. So this is some pink like tulle with little hearts on it, and then I made this tag that actually has the pink tulle on it also, and then it just slides in. This is another pocket here. So there's a page from one of the, I think that was the Crocheting and Knitting book. And I love the diagram on the back. That's awesome. That would be cool to do some journaling on that. Put this in. I don't know if you can hear the wind blowing outside. It is howling. We're supposed to have some snow this morning, and then in a couple days we're supposed to have an ice storm, which that will be awesome because then that means no school. And I really need a day to do some stuff. It takes me a while. It actually takes quite a while to get my journals ready. I wish I could just show a video and then be like, okay, they're in my Etsy shop, but I can't. I have to photograph them, and I have to find the right place to photograph them, and then the lighting, and then I have to edit the pictures and make the listings, and it's going to take me all week to get those done. So if we have a snow day this week, that would be awesome, because I could just get it done. Oh, look at that. That's cool. I could just get it done and then not have to worry about it. And then come Saturday, I could just hit publish, and all of the listings would go up. Oh goodness. I had trouble putting this one in last night. There we go. And then there's some of my free motion stitching. So this last one right here. Now see how bulky this is? So if you're a person that likes a chunky journal, this would be the one for you. If you don't like a chunky journal, you may want to go with one of the other ones. So this is a tri-fold page made from fabric. So it folds out like this. So I'll show you. Okay, so here's the front. And it has a little card that you can open, okay? Then it's a pocket. So there's a journaling tag in there. Then on the other side, this is actually from an old shirt. So this is an old shirt, and it's see-through and kind of gauzy with a couple of cards sewn here. So then I've got some papers. This is from an old magnetic photo album. File folder pocket with some silk, with a silk fabric pocket there, and just a little sewing page. Okay, so then here is the other part of the fabric. So this is a transparency pocket, and I just stuck a little couple scraps of scrapbook paper that I stitched together, and those became tags, so they're in here. Then this is a pocket, so I have a journaling card in here. And then the very last page. So it folds in the back. So there's a card right there. And then ready, ready, ready. The very last page, I have an envelope. And in the envelope is a little booklet and just some pages from one of the books. And then, good grief, that wind is really howling. And then it's a pocket because there's another little booklet that I made and stuck that in there. So, yeah, so it's an envelope and it's a pocket. Yeah, and it's the last page. Oh my goodness. I feel like I've been talking forever. I need some more coffee. Guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I appreciate all of your guys' love and support. After I get these books done, I have some things that I want to do a giveaway video. So let's get these books listed in Etsy and then look for a video maybe of just where I journal, because I haven't journaled in a while. So maybe a journaling video, and definitely I've been collecting some things that I would like to do a giveaway and get some really cool stuff that I've found out to you guys. Okay, so look for these things in my Etsy shop, The Rebookery, on Saturday, and I think that's February 10th, and we'll go 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Guys, thank you very much. Do something creative today. Love ya. Bye.